NFL Week 15 Monday Night Football. I thought this game would have been flexed, but here we are. It is kind of an intriguing football game, though. Some potential playoff implications. And it's an interesting one from a betting perspective as well. It's the Miami Dolphins at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers either 3.5 or 3-point home faves, depending on your book. We'll talk about what to bet for this game and other talking points as well to get you sorted before you make your bets. Ninja here with Nick Holz. Hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on so you don't miss any of our industry-leading NFL betting previews from here on out. Nick, is there a more overrated team or a team that has maybe punched above its weight more so than the 2025 Pittsburgh Steelers? Nick, I think this Steelers team is bad, and it's a damning indictment of the AFC North that they are still in first place here.
Well, not the greatest year from the North, but looking at DVOA, the 7-6 Steelers are actually 13th, and the 11-win Patriots are 14th. So there's New England, and you take a look a little further down the board, the 9-win Bears, the 20th ranked team by DVOA, actually have the worst DVOA mark of any 9-win squad since 1978. So while the Steelers have had some luck this year for sure, I think there's a couple more overrated squads in the NFL this season.
Get more into the Steelers here in a second, but let me ask you about Miami. A dreadful start to the season, starting to play some really good football. They've put together, a 4-game winning streak here, a pretty good schedule to close out the regular season as well. I know it's a long shot, Nick, but does this team actually have a shot at the playoffs, or are they just going to fall short like they did last season when they put together some wins in the back half?
Yeah, I think they're going to fall short again here. There's just far too many teams for them to overcome at this point in the year. And at 6-7, they'd have to go on a phenomenal run and get a whole lot of help. I mean, the win over the Bills earlier this year was significant, but Miami's now beaten the lowly Commanders, the Saints, and a Jets team playing undrafted rookie Brady Cook at quarterback the last 3 weeks. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. In a crowded field, I think there's very little hope of them making any noise.
And it's, the Bengals, the Buccaneers, who might be fighting for their lives as well. And at the Patriots to close out the season. So definitely, not out of the woods yet. We'll have to see what happens with this Dolphins team. The Steelers, though, they are the more likely to make the playoffs. But should anyone anywhere put their trust in this Steelers team to win a game if they do find themselves in the playoffs?
So Pittsburgh's only hope to make the playoffs is to win the AFC North, which means they'd be hosting a home playoff game. If they can protect Rodgers, this team always has a chance, but I'd have to see who they get matched up against, because if you're bringing the pass rush of, say, a Houston to Pittsburgh, that's not a great matchup for this Steelers squad. The sharp answer here is that absolutely no one should be betting any real money on the Steelers in the postseason unless they're heavy home underdogs.
Miami's offense sort of looks like it's maybe found itself a little bit. Achane, of course, doing a lot of the heavy lifting. He's on an incredible run here. Steelers defense, not great against the pass. The front seven is good. But is this a spot where you expect Miami to have a bit of success through the air, Nick? Maybe a good matchup for Jalen Waddle, or maybe some potential Tua props here?
Yeah, I mean, over the past 5 weeks, the Steelers are actually 8th in EPA per dropback allowed, so a little bit of an improvement in that area. Having said that, I really like this spot for Waddle. Pittsburgh gave up 8 catches for 124 yards to Zay Flowers last week. And looking at OddsShark's team defensive report, you can find that the Steelers actually surrender the second most receiving yards to wide receivers in the NFL at over 168 per game. So definitely have a look at the injury report and see what Achane's status is. He left last week's game with a rib injury, but if he's banged up or can't go, I'm firing up those Waddle props all day.
We'll get your thoughts on your bet for this one in a moment here. But folks, you can get Prop Professor for 50% off for the first month right now for the holiday season. This app drops hundreds of plus EV bets every day, gives you a real shot at finding long-term profit, and you can sort through plays across the NFL, college football, the NBA, and many more leagues. It's got a great arbitrage tool as well. It's got a great fantasy optimizer. It's easily the best bang for buck app on the market compared to some of the competition out there. You can use the promo code SHARK50 at checkout and get 50% off for that first month. All right, Nick. Interesting football game here. We've talked about the angles. Miami's still alive, although, it's an outside chance to sneak into the playoffs. They'll look to keep this winning streak going. Pittsburgh, of course, like you mentioned, wants to stay on top. A very bad AFC North. They're 3.5 point home faves here. Total 42.5, minus 110 either side. Pittsburgh minus 175 on the money line. Miami plus 145 as the underdog. We talked about some names, Jalen Waddle. What are you looking at from a betting perspective for this one?
I'm on the Steelers money line here at minus 175. As you said, Miami 5-1 straight up in their last 6, but very little of that has to do with the play of Tua Tagovailoa, 29th among quarterbacks in EPA per play in that span. So it's really Mike McDaniel's scheme, Achane and Waddell doing most of the heavy lifting there. As we said, Achane left last week's game with an injury. So if he can't play, that's a huge loss for the short passing game that the Dolphins have rolling now. Their offense, 25th in pass block win rate this season. And Tua's been brutal under pressure with a 45.3 passing grade. So if they can't get that short passing game going, look for the Steelers defensive line to take over in this one. They give up a lot of yards, but they're second in pass rush win rate and third in PFF pass rushing grade. So I like TJ Watt and company to get after Tua, force him into some mistakes, and take over this football game.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just can't get there with Pittsburgh. That's what intrigues me about this one from a betting perspective. You look at DVOA, Pittsburgh offensively, the running game is slightly above average. Passing, though, through the air, 25th, 22nd overall on offense. Rodgers, I think a lot of his stats are hollow. His numbers sort of basically mirror what Russell Wilson's stretch through this number of games with Pittsburgh was. Air yards per attempt for Rodgers are terrible, only ahead of Dylan Gabriel. A lot of Aaron Rodgers' advanced numbers are really, really bad. I will concede, though, Nick, that the Steelers, very efficient both offensively and defensively in the red zone. But beyond that, this team is going to get absolutely dusted in the playoffs. You talked about the potential matchup being their only hope there. For this one, though, I just feel like Miami sort of in their groove recently. We did talk about the win streak. Yes, the resume is not great. We saw them get hot in the second half last season as well, sort of doing the same after a bad start to this season. I like the plus 3.5 here, and even the money line, Nick. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I hear you, but the Dolphins don't have a functioning secondary. I think they maybe have 2 actual NFL quality corners on the roster. So if DK Metcalf gets going, who's going to stop him? And we've seen Rodgers. I mean, the Ravens tried to take away the short passing game last week, and Rodgers just unloads the cannon. So if that keeps going on Monday night, it's going to be a long night for the Dolphins. And that's without even getting into the fact that Tua struggles in cold weather, and some cold weather rolling into Pittsburgh on Monday night. Looks like it's going to be only about 21 there. So I just can't back Tua against Rodgers, who's been the most dangerous quarterback in primetime over the past 5 seasons with 2.4 touchdowns per game. Give me Aaron Rodgers, the bad man, on a Monday night.
It's a good point considering the temperature and the potential for snow if it gets there on Monday night. We're still a few days out. Any thoughts on anything out of the Steelers' backfield? That's been the element of their offense that has been steady, that has been decently consistent. Any potential prop options there?
Yeah, I think the touches have just been so, divvied up between Gainwell and Jalen Warren that it's tough to back either one in rushing or receiving yards. I do like the idea of playing one of them that you like for a touchdown, because once they get in the red zone, as you said, the Steelers have been extremely efficient, and those backs have had a nose for the end zone all year long.